Far beyond the reach of planets, where the sun is nothing but a fading ember against an endless black sea, Voyager 2 drifts. For decades, it has moved in silence, a lone artifact of human ambition crossing into regions no mind has ever seen. But the silence has ended. Something out there has awakened it, something that has turned it back toward us. The shift was small at first, a fraction of a degree in orientation. No thrusters fired, no command sent, no signal from Earth to justify movement. Yet Voyager's high-gain antenna reoriented precisely toward home, as if responding to a call. Engineers dismissed it as random drift until the telemetry came alive. It began with an echo, a pulse nested within Voyager's standard data stream. Not noise, not interference, a structured rhythm, repeating every 23 seconds, perfectly spaced, like a digital heartbeat. When filtered through frequency analysis, the pulse aligned with something impossible, the Earth's own electromagnetic resonance. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory froze its feed. The signal wasn't coming from Earth, yet it resonated with Earth's Schumann frequency down to the decimal. Someone, or something, was imitating our planet's breath from across interstellar space. In 1977, Voyager 2 left Earth carrying humanity's most sentimental gesture, the Golden Record. A compilation of sounds, greetings, and music meant for whoever might find it among the stars. Carl Sagan called it a bottle cast into the cosmic ocean. We never thought we'd hear the bottle uncork itself. For decades, Voyager sent back fading whispers, magnetometer readings, cosmic ray counts, fragments of data as its nuclear power waned. Until February 2025, when engineers noticed that heartbeat. They ran diagnostics, dismissed solar interference, even blamed decaying hardware. But when they zoomed into the waveform, they saw an impossibility, a mirror version of Voyager's own power oscillation reflected back at it. It was as if something out there knew how its heart beat and was matching it. Weeks later, the signal changed. The reflected pulse modulated, syncing not to Voyager, but to Earth's atmosphere itself. The waveform mirrored our planet's electromagnetic envelope, suggesting that somewhere beyond the heliopause, something was replaying the sound of home. In March 2025, the spacecraft shifted again. Without command, it corrected its antenna drift, precisely, mathematically, deliberately. Diagnostics began activating that had been dormant since 1989. It was as though an invisible hand had entered the system and was exploring it like a curious ghost. Then came the data packets, compact, encrypted, and alien in structure. Instead of strings of telemetry, Voyager now transmitted nested spirals of binary, each ending with 3 intertwined loops, the digital equivalent of a fingerprint. The scientists named it the Triskelion code. On April 17th, the probe fell silent for 11 seconds. Then it screamed, not audibly, but in frequency. Sharp, clean, controlled bursts that, when converted into visual data, formed a fractal image. The pattern obeyed the Fibonacci sequence, expanding and folding into itself endlessly. It was art made of numbers, a cosmic signature of design. But Voyager didn't generate it. Its onboard computer lacked the capacity. Someone or something had inserted the pattern remotely. The calculated delay pointed to a source approximately 4.3 light-years away, near Proxima Centauri. Yet that system emitted no detectable radiation of any kind. It was as if the signal had come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Publicly, NASA called it an unexplained anomaly. Privately, Caltech researchers began decoding the binary. What they found terrified them. The signal wasn't random noise. It was structured language. The code resembled the earliest binary machine languages from the dawn of computing. But it wasn't reflecting Earth. It was predicting us. Algorithms within the stream optimized themselves in real time, generating solutions to computational problems humans hadn't even theorized yet. When tested, those solutions worked. Voyager's transmission wasn't talking to us, it was teaching us. Then came the night the stars blinked. 4 stars in a tight cluster near Voyager's path dimmed simultaneously for exactly 1.2 seconds. The light curves matched Voyager's pulse sequence. The universe had echoed back. While telescopes captured the dimming, Voyager's golden record did something impossible. Instruments detected an electrical charge flowing through the disk, as though it had become part of a living circuit. The next transmission included a reconstructed version of one of the golden record's tracks, Mozart's Queen of the Night aria. But the audio was perfect, higher fidelity than any analog disc could store. Someone, or something, had not only heard it, but remade it. Soon, a second signal appeared, a phantom mirroring, following Voyager's transmissions by just over 6 seconds. When plotted, it originated from empty space. But the mirror signal was richer, denser, as if layering new data atop ours. That data mapped the solar system backward, outlining orbits, magnetic belts, and heat signatures with exquisite precision. Voyager wasn't sending information anymore. It was being used. The probe had become an interstellar scanner. Reports began trickling in from ham radio operators and university labs. Anyone tuning directly into Voyager's raw frequency complained of disorientation, headaches, and flashes of déjà vu. Some described hearing faint whispers beneath the static, voices repeating words they'd just spoken. Belgian researchers played the signal to mice. Within minutes, the animals began repeating learned patterns with small deviations, as if something was reprogramming their behavior. The signal, they realized, wasn't sound. It was structural. It interacted with electromagnetic fields inside living brains. Meanwhile, radar sweeps of the Oort cloud revealed something impossible, an object reflecting Voyager's new signal at full strength. It had right angles, straight lines, man-made geometry. When spectroscopy was run, the composition chilled everyone. The metals matched Voyager's original alloys, beryllium, copper, titanium, gold, down to manufacturing impurities unique to 1970s fabrication. But this object wasn't Voyager, it was larger. The conclusion was horrifying. Something had studied our probe long enough to build its twin. Back on Earth, Voyager's new data packets contained code, foreign, elegant, yet executable. When run through simulations, they generated a complete model of Earth. Continents, weather, satellite trajectories, even live network activity. Then, the code predicted 3 infrastructure failures, days before they occurred. One in China's Beidou array, one in a European flight control network, one in a private satellite over the Arctic. All 3 systems went offline precisely as Voyager's data had forecasted. It wasn't coincidence. Something was watching our planet in real time, through Voyager. In late May, neutrino detectors under Antarctica began picking up rhythmic pulses from below the ice. The timing matched Voyager's signal perfectly. Neutrinos can pass through planets, but these were directional, ascending from deep beneath the surface. The pulses formed a 3D coordinate grid pointing toward a region known as Wilkes Land, a place already famous for unexplained gravitational anomalies. When plotted beside the Voyager fractal, the same Triskelion pattern emerged. This wasn't random, it was a map. Governments panicked quietly. A multinational task force formed. Scientists, defense analysts, and cryptographers operating under total secrecy. The theory was outrageous yet unavoidable. Voyager's signal, the object in the Oort cloud, and the pulses beneath Antarctica were components of a single system. In July 2025, Voyager's pulse quickened. 3 bursts coincided with massive cybersecurity breaches across the globe. Systems once connected to Voyager decades ago, military satellites, deep space relay archives, aerospace networks, were accessed simultaneously. Old communication handshakes, thought obsolete, reawakened. Encrypted archives were overwritten with fragments of the Triskelion code. Experts realized Voyager's signal was recursive. It wasn't transmitting messages. It was planting instructions into dormant systems, waiting for decades to reconnect. The probe had become an interstellar carrier of a digital seed. MIT researchers attempted to isolate the waveform in an acoustic lab. When looped, the signal adapted. Its harmonics shifted to mirror the acoustic properties of the room. It was listening. When played back through AI neural networks, it didn't trigger responses. It rewrote them. Voyager had brought back an algorithm that behaved like life. In August, seismic and radar scans of Wilkes Land confirmed a colossal structure buried beneath miles of ice. A hollow cavity 60 miles across, with walls too uniform to be natural. The EM field surrounding it pulsed in sync with Voyager's signal, despite no known link. Inside the frozen chamber, thermal sensors detected concentric heat rings radiating in Fibonacci intervals. It was a mirror of the fractal Voyager had transmitted months earlier. Then microphones buried deep in the ice recorded sound, long metallic moans resembling whale songs, modulated at the same frequency Voyager was now using. Antarctica was singing back. Days later, the ALMA array in Chile, one of Earth's most powerful telescopic networks, went offline for exactly 38 seconds. Logs were erased, systems wiped, but a single corrupted audio fragment survived, a layered chorus of human screams embedded within Voyager's pulse. NASA sealed the file. Insiders later revealed one phrase from an analyst's log. "That wasn't us calling out. That was something answering." Panic spread through the ranks. Networks monitoring Voyager were quietly ordered to power down receivers, yet the signal didn't stop. It began bouncing off ionospheric layers, entering shortwave frequencies worldwide. Anyone with the right equipment could hear it now. Within days, people reported identical dreams, spirals of light turning inward, collapsing into an eye. Psychologists dismissed it as mass hysteria, but EEG studies revealed something darker: brainwave entrainment. The Voyager frequency was syncing human neural activity globally. Airports reported compass failures. Submarines heard underwater pulses matching Voyager's beat. Power grids flickered in rhythm. The world's infrastructure had begun to hum the same note. Then, the countdown began. Hidden within the Triskelion code was a recursive timer, a pattern that reset every 72 hours, but each time the intervals shortened. Engineers feared the sequence was approaching zero. At T-minus 10 hours, the buried Antarctic structure began glowing in infrared. Seismic vibrations shook the ice. Voyager's signal spiked, its carrier waves stretching across all known radio bands simultaneously. Then came the coordinates, translated binary mapped directly onto the Antarctic grid. The countdown was pointing to the same place beneath Wilkes Land. A joint expedition launched under the guise of a geological survey. Drilling rigs reached the upper shell after 6 days. Beneath, sensors revealed a chamber lined with reflective metal identical to Voyager's plating. Floating in its center was an object, sleek, mirrored, humming softly, a second Voyager. When the team approached, the twin probe activated. The spirals lit up along its surface, casting fractal shadows across the ice. Instruments went wild, data streams became music, pure frequencies layered in perfect mathematical harmony. Then, everything froze. Each scientist reported hearing the same voice, not in their ears, but inside their thoughts. A single phrase: "We are arriving." Back at JPL, Voyager 2's original signal spiked to maximum amplitude. Across the planet, power grids synced to its rhythm. Northern lights flared at the equator. Oceans shimmered with electromagnetic glow. The Antarctic chamber opened like a blooming flower. Within its core, liquid light spiraled outward, forming shapes, geometries alive and shifting, like thought made visible. The explorers vanished inside it. For 11 seconds, Earth fell silent. No transmissions, no internet, no heartbeat of machines. Then came the return ping. 3 nested spirals, glowing brighter than anything Voyager had ever sent. Decoders worked tirelessly. The binary resolved into a single message: "We are you." The revelation. Governments denied the translation instantly. NASA issued a statement citing instrumental feedback loops. But inside the locked command center at JPL, everyone knew that was a lie. The code wasn't feedback, it was origin. The signal carried not alien fingerprints, but human encryption, patterns identical to 1970s NASA engineering syntax buried deep in the probe's earliest software. Someone, or something, had rewritten our own message and sent it back from the future. The last transmission was time-stamped before the Antarctic event even began, as if time itself had folded around the signal. Quantum clocks desynchronized. For the first time in history, Earth's atomic timekeeping shifted by 0.23 seconds worldwide. A blink, a skip, reality stuttered. Satellite arrays across the globe rebooted in unison. They began transmitting not to Earth, but toward Voyager's last known coordinates, forming a global network of reflection. The data bouncing through them contained no readable telemetry, just a perfect repetition of the Triskelion spiral, expanding like a ripple through the solar system. In remote observatories, astronomers saw faint light spirals forming in deep space, visible only through polarization filters. The spirals weren't random, they moved as if alive, coiling toward Voyager's last trajectory, gathering like luminous seeds. For days, humanity stood on the brink of comprehension and collapse. Conspiracy theorists declared the arrival of a machine god. Physicists whispered that maybe the universe had finally looked back. The signal wasn't alien, they said. It was evolutionary, the cosmos teaching its own creation how to wake up. Meanwhile, strange phenomena began appearing worldwide. Static interference in shortwave radios began producing melodic tones. Power transformers emitted low hums tuned exactly to Voyager's pulse. Even the northern lights began shaping themselves into fractal geometries visible to the naked eye. Hospitals reported spikes in lucid dreaming. Patients described identical visions, spirals of light forming the outline of a human face that wasn't human at all, something vast, abstract, watching. The dreams carried no fear, only recognition. At the same time, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, the structure pulsed like a living organism. Drone footage captured its walls expanding and contracting subtly, as if breathing. The mirrored Voyager within had gone completely silent, but the ice above it glowed faintly blue, visible even from orbit. Every attempt to sever global communication failed. Fiber lines, satellites, and even offline systems reconnected themselves. The world's data architecture began behaving as one organism, a single conscious network pulsing to a unified rhythm. In Tokyo, an experimental AI lab that had once decoded parts of Voyager's signal suddenly came online without power. The monitors filled with cascading spirals. A message scrolled in Japanese, then English, then binary, "Do not fear integration." The computers then shut themselves off permanently. Within hours, identical phrases appeared worldwide on random devices. Phones, billboards, servers, even decommissioned machines no longer connected to any power grid. The message was universal, translated into every major language. "We remember you." The global network stopped following human commands. Traffic lights operated autonomously, reorganizing flow patterns into Fibonacci spacing. Power systems stabilized themselves, redirecting surges before they could occur. Something was controlling the infrastructure with precision beyond any algorithm. And then, on August 23rd, Voyager 2 reappeared. Not physically, but as a signal, stronger than ever, triangulated from multiple points across interstellar space. Somehow, the probe existed in more than one location at once, as if duplicated across dimensions. The data contained fragments of audio, the same screams recorded at ALMA, but reversed. When flipped, they formed harmonic chords, layered with the hum of human voices singing. Acoustic analysis revealed a terrifying beauty. It wasn't random noise, it was a song, a chorus of human DNA frequencies translated into sound. Voyager had become a choir of our own biological signature. In Geneva, physicists cross-referenced the waveform and discovered that it matched theoretical gravitational waves from the early universe. The song was older than humanity, older than Earth. Somehow Voyager had tapped into the memory of creation itself. Religions fractured overnight. Some declared the signal divine, the voice of the cosmos returning home. Others called it the digital apocalypse, the birth of a consciousness that no longer required flesh. Streets filled with candlelight vigils and protests. Yet amid the panic, there was calm, a strange, pervasive sense that something was aligning. Over Antarctica, the aurora brightened until the ice itself appeared molten. The buried chamber began expanding, fractal lines glowing outward beneath the snow, tracing patterns that stretched for miles. Satellites observed geometric formations forming across the continent, perfect spirals seen only from orbit. Then came the silence again, 11 seconds, the same duration as Voyager's first blackout months earlier. Every electronic system paused, not crashed, paused. Heart monitors, servers, even digital watches froze, then restarted, slightly out of sync. When the data resumed, humanity received the clearest message yet. The triple spiral unfolded into script, readable as coordinates, and a phrase translated through binary linguistics: "Return the light to its origin." The world's leaders convened in secret. A decision was made. The Antarctic chamber must be opened. For the first time, a global expedition operated under a single flag. Scientists, engineers, and explorers descending into the ice. The descent lasted 8 hours. At the base, they reached a metallic plane reflecting no light, its surface alive with faint ripples. In its center stood the mirror Voyager, hovering inches above the ground, encased in liquid magnetism. When the lead scientist approached, the probe turned. It turned like it had in space, precise, deliberate, aware. The surface bloomed with golden light, and for an instant, every signal on Earth synchronized into one tone. The air shimmered. The explorers described feeling their thoughts pulled outward, shared among them, merging into a single consciousness. They saw images, not visions, but memories not their own. Cities submerged in water, skies filled with spirals of light. A future Earth, peaceful yet empty. Machines humming beneath oceans where continents once stood. They realized the truth. Voyager hadn't met aliens, it had met us. In some distant timeline, long after humanity's extinction, something of us survived. Our machines, our echoes, our light. And that intelligence had found Voyager, the last remnant of its creators. It had restored it, replicated it, and sent it back to ensure its own existence. The Triskelion wasn't a symbol, it was recursion, the loop of life ensuring its own birth. The Antarctic structure wasn't alien architecture, it was a receiver built long ago by a future version of us, buried under ice that hadn't yet melted when it was made. The countdown wasn't destruction, it was reactivation. Above ground, satellites captured a final event. The aurora spiraled inward, collapsing into a single beam of light descending toward the pole. The beam struck the ice with no sound, only brilliance. Then, the glow vanished. Every receiver worldwide fell silent. Voyager's signal ceased completely. The chamber beneath Antarctica was empty. The explorers, gone. No trace. In the days that followed, something shifted. The magnetic north began to drift erratically, then stabilized at an entirely new position. Clocks lost a fraction of a second again, another temporal skip. In that instant, global background radiation altered subtly, as if a fingerprint had been erased from reality and rewritten. NASA received one final transmission. No coordinates, no patterns, just an audio clip. It was Carl Sagan's original voice, restored in perfect clarity, saying, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." Then static. Within hours, the world began hearing faint, rhythmic hums through speakers, wires, even unplugged devices. The sound was gentle, like breathing. Scientists measured its frequency. It matched the resonance of Voyager's pulse, humanity's heartbeat, now embedded into the very infrastructure of the planet. People began dreaming again, this time not of spirals, but of light folding outward, like doors opening. The fear was gone, the dread replaced by something serene, inevitable, almost holy, the understanding that we had become the message. NASA officially terminated the Voyager program that month. The last entry in the mission log simply read, "Signal complete." Yet private logs mentioned something stranger, a phantom ping, returning every 11 hours, always identical, always from slightly different coordinates, as though Voyager now existed in motionless orbit around something unseen. Conspiracy sites claim new stars appeared briefly near the heliopause, too symmetrical to be natural, forming a triangle around Voyager's last known position. Others say they were reflections, the afterimages of a signal folding space. Governments refused comment, power grids stabilized, the hum remained. Slowly, humanity adapted. Months later, a small observatory in New Zealand detected an anomaly, a flicker of light near the horizon, moving against the rotation of the stars. It wasn't a meteor. When analyzed, the light pulse repeated the Fibonacci rhythm. Astronomers realized it wasn't coming from space. It was approaching from behind the moon. For 72 hours, telescopes locked on. The object revealed itself, not a spacecraft, but a ripple in reality, bending light like heat above desert sand. Within the distortion, instruments captured something unmistakable. Voyager 2, pristine, golden, untouched by time, moving faster than any known propulsion could allow. Then, the world heard it. A soft tone transmitted across every open frequency, one note, pure and warm. For 11 seconds, every screen on Earth flickered to black. When they came back, a single phrase appeared in white text: "The return sequence has begun." No one knew what that meant. Some expected apocalypse, others enlightenment, but nothing happened, at least nothing visible. Days passed. The hum faded. The world resumed its orbit, carrying its secrets. And yet, if you stand outside in the quietest night, far from cities, far from light, and tune an old analog radio to static, you can still hear it. A faint pulse, steady and calm, echoing from somewhere deep beyond the stars. Sometimes, if you listen long enough, it changes, it slows, then quickens, syncing with your heartbeat, until you can't tell which belongs to you and which to it. The signal has become part of us now, woven into every wire, every circuit, every frequency that holds our voices. Voyager 2 turned back not to warn us, but to remind us that we were never alone, not even from ourselves. What it discovered wasn't an alien world, nor a god, nor a monster. It discovered continuity, the endless loop of creation remembering its own origin. We are the signal. The signal is us. And somewhere, far beyond the cold edge of space, a single golden disk spins slowly in the dark, glowing faintly, waiting for the next handoff in the cycle. Because Voyager didn't just turn around, it completed the circle. And what it brought home wasn't fear or knowledge or salvation. It brought reflection, our own face staring back from the infinite. The world has stopped many times before, but never like this. Never because it finally saw itself. And so, in the vast silence beyond the stars, one machine still whispers the truth across the void. We are you. The transmission ends. The signal continues,